to honor everybody's time, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Eric Bowling with IPC Technologies. I want to thank everybody for joining our free customer training webinar series today. Just as a reminder, these are recorded, so if you like something you heard or would like to review with your partners or other associates that you work with, this will be made available on our website via the free training video section of our website. Everyone has joined in listen-only mode, but we will be taking questions. So in the side panel, you are free to submit your questions along the way. Write them down as you think about them. That way we can knock them all out. We'll leave a little bit of time at the end to cover any additional questions. So today we're going to start with work from home, something that is top of mind of everybody in the country. Here in Virginia, we have started the phased rollout of sort of reopening the economy and people coming back into work, opening up offices. I'm happy to report that I did get a haircut today, which was very exciting. And you know, the ability to deliver a work from home scenario has never been more real for us. So we've all had to sort of navigate these strange waters of shutting down offices and social distancing and those types of things. I will say IPC was able to continue operating 100% without any disruption to our customer service, because we actually do what's in this presentation. We actually have a work from home strategy. I believe that most of our customers did not even know that we had transitioned to a work from home environment for several months. So the stuff works if it's well thought through and planned accordingly and executed well. So what we'll do today is we're just going to kind of talk about some of the pros and the cons, right? Working from home, what does it mean? Some of the things you need to prepare for. And then we're just going to do some kind of, maybe call it IT speed dating. We're going to speed through the multiple ways with which you can deliver a seamless work from home strategy with some of the lessons learned that we learned ourselves, some of the gotchas that inevitably come up, that a lot of our customers were sort of scrambling to figure out over the last couple months as they actually were forced into this work from home strategy. So they were addressing and knocking off items that they had maybe not considered before in their planning. And so we'll talk about some customer examples of what some people did, how we did it at IPC, and then some of the options that many of you have available to you with minimal effort to get there. So obviously working from home, right, it's got lots of pros associated with it. The one, I don't know if it's a pro or a con, but when you need to respond to a pandemic, where having a work from home strategy is valuable to your business. And the cons associated with it are that you don't necessarily have the best communications. You lose touch with folks. You lose touch with your customers. Call quality issues. Staying active with the work effort and avoiding distractions that are inevitable with a work from home strategy. In a previous life, I worked for a company and I actually had to work from home for about 5 years. And, you just have to have some certain things in place to be able to minimize your distractions and to maintain the professionalism of what do you do when a dog starts barking in the background, and what do you do kind of depending on who you're speaking with. And so, it's challenging. It's different for some people. Some people, they've only ever worked from home. We have several folks here at IPC who have only worked from home their entire career, and so they have it very well ironed out and how they're gonna have a routine in the morning, and they get up and go to work. And so it's different for each folks. But what we want to talk about today are really the technology pieces that enable some of those routines to become reality. And so what some of those challenges associated with a work from home strategy is, how do I get the information securely to a wide range of users over different internet type connections. Maybe they are home PCs versus company-owned laptops, software and security, lots of challenges associated with that. Generally speaking, in the past, when you've needed to deliver a private level of access to your remote employees, it requires some third-party VPN. So you have a little application that you launch on your desktop. It creates a secure IPsec tunnel through your home internet connection to a corporate data center. And now you have extended your access to the applications such as file share or email and phone calls in some instances. And some of those challenges are, because there's so many third-party components involved, it can actually get confusing to your non-technical user base. When you're in IT and you sort of understand, okay, I got to create this secure tunnel to start with and launch this application, this application gets me to these resources inside. When you've built the plumbing, you sort of understand how it all works. But for the other 95% of our organizations, they don't have that insight. And so it needs to be something that is simplified so that it doesn't create confusion with your end user community, like the poor guy in the picture there. He just doesn't know what to do. Some of the other communication challenges are when you all of a sudden have people remotely, you're working on cable modems, DSL, areas where they have poor Wi-Fi in their homes, right? You actually can suffer from poor voice quality. That is also exacerbated by the lack of good headsets, just noise canceling headsets that you need to consider when you plug in your headset to your laptop. Most sort of soft phone based solutions out there where I don't have a physical hard phone, but I have a soft phone, most of them recommend that you have a physical connection to your PC and that you have a physically connected headset. That is the best way to reduce the latency that are inherent with Wi-Fi networks, and so to try and create that best voice quality experience possible. Another challenge is just keeping people engaged. How do I reduce the distractions for folks? I think we got some neat answers there with some recent products that we've come across, and that's primarily with video, right? When someone can see you, you're not going to go to work in that t-shirt and shorts. You might put on a collared shirt if you're working from home. People see you and you can engage, and they see when you know that you're being viewed, you're just going to be more engaged with the content of what's being delivered and what's going on in your business. And then another communication challenge that a lot of our customers, I think this was probably one of the largest speed bumps that most people had over the last several months, is, okay, I've got a phone at my desk that I can take home and plug in, but I don't have power for my phone. I don't have a PoE network at my home office. We sold a lot of power adapters, the single port PoE adapters, so that people could plug into their home router, inject power into their IP phone, and operate. So just simple things like, how am I going to power the phone? Right? Those I think if you ordered a PoE adapter from us at any time in the last several months, right, it was hard. It was difficult for us to find those because everybody was doing that, and so there was a little bit of a shortage in some adapters, and so we had to come up with creative ways to get PoE capable adapters for some of our customers. Cables and headsets as well. For me personally, my internet router for my home sits in the hallway closet on the first floor. And during this time, I had my 4 kids, 2 home from college and 2 in high school, that were all online learning. And then there I am online learning. And so we were saturating our Wi-Fi network. We do not have physical cables running around our house. It is all Wi-Fi. And those are just potential gotchas for that work from home clear communication requirement, because on a Wi-Fi network, you're just going to have a little more noise, a little more latency associated when compared to a physical connection. And those are some of the things that we just helped our customers navigate. The other thing is headsets. Having, particularly if you're using a soft phone through your PC, a headset's pretty much required. The speaker and microphones in most laptops are not the best at noise cancellation, and just not a great customer experience. So if you wanted to deliver the perfect at-home experience, you would have a computer that was physically connected to your home router. You would have a high-speed internet connection at your house, like Fios or a cable modem. You would have a headset that was physically connected to your to your laptop. And so those are just some of the things that people hadn't quite figured out, and we did a lot of scrambling over the last couple months to get people straight with those technologies. Okay, so today we're just going to run down the various options. Some of these are good, some of these are cheap, and some of them are fast. So you only get to pick two. You can't have good, cheap, and fast. You can have good, cheap, you can have cheap, fast, or you can have good, fast, right? Because generally there are trade-offs with a technology that is reliable, good quality. There's trade-offs with cheap. Okay, I don't want to spend any money licensing these things, or fast, that I can execute on it quickly. Okay, so there are a couple of them here that are very, very general, but I will say that I have customers that this was their work from home strategy. They simply did call forwarding or external assignment. We'll walk through some scenarios of what that really means. I think everybody understands call forwarding, but external assignment has some gotchas. And most PBXs out there support those two types of work from home strategies. Then you have the ability to, particularly with Mitel offers a border gateway and an edge gateway, depending on which Mitel product you are using. The Mitel border gateway is for the MyVoice Business platform, and the edge gateway is for the MyVoice Connect, or formerly ShoreTel platform. I do know that Mitel has plans to make the Mitel border gateway the go forward gateway solution that will be certified over all of their platforms. However, that is a little bit later in the year. And the edge gateway is not going anywhere. It'll always be supported, but Mitel is trying to trim down the number of products that they service and support, and so they want to create a single gateway that'll cross over multiple types of phone systems. Another option is a mobility router. Now, mobility router is similar to a Mitel border gateway. There are some things that the mobility router does a little differently. We'll talk about some of those differences. This next product is a new product offered by Mitel called MiTeam Meetings. It's Mitel's answer to Zoom. That's the best way to explain it. It's just video calling integrated with either the MiCollab or the MyVoice Connect applications, so that you can quickly turn a voice call chat into a video call, screen share, persistent chat type of environment. And then the customers who really had the easiest go at it, except for the power aspect of it, were the ones who were already on a cloud-based phone system, because there was no infrastructure required. The cloud-based system works with any internet connection that you plug your phone into or your soft phone into. And so the people who were cloud-based customers, they very easily executed their work from home strategies, because just the sheer nature of the cloud, they've already got everything in place. The licensing is already there. The hardware and the infrastructure to support mobility and soft phones, whether they're plugged in at the office or plugged in at the home or on a Wi-Fi network at Starbucks, all of those solutions are already built into the architecture of the cloud-based solutions. Mitel offers a couple. They offer a public base and a private base. We also partner with RingCentral for another alternative to a public base cloud UC system. MS Teams. I have a customer who simply turned on external assignment, turned on MS Teams for their internal conferencing, and that's how they operated during the quarantine as a temporary stopgap. So lots of different options for our customers out there. So pretty quickly, right? Call forward is very simple. There's a PBX in the middle, right? So you got your customer, the call comes in, and the call simply forwards out to your home phone, right? It could be your home phone, it could be your cell phone, but it's some phone that's outside of the system. This is very simple. Most people are familiar with call forwarding. Now, there is no call control on this. The call just comes to you all the time. And the problem with just a call forward is that because the call is literally forwarded to the other device, it's your personal voicemail that is going to answer. So if you call forward to your personal cell phone, for example, it's your personal cell phone voicemail that will answer your customer if you don't answer the call. So it's your personal number, it's on your personal voicemail, and so that just something else that users need to be aware of. For non-technical users, they just need to know, hey, if you call forward, you're going to have two voicemails to check. You're going to have to check your corporate voicemail and your personal voicemail in this scenario. The other alternative, and this is available to any PBX today, every PBX has got this. This other one's called external assignment. It's also called Office Anywhere within the MiVoice Connect product. And it's very similar to a call forward, with the exception that you actually maintain call control. So what happens is the call comes into the PBX. The PBX then calls the home user and says, hey, someone's trying to call you. You have externally assigned or Office Anywhere. You've made this phone your device, but the system gets your permission first. So when that second leg comes out to you as the end user, if you're in external assignment, you receive the call, but you're not talking to the customer yet. You're talking to the phone system that says, you have a call from, and it can read their caller ID, or you can have them record their name. Do you want to accept it? And then as the remote home user says, yes, I would like to accept it, then you are now connected back through the PBX and speaking with your customer. So this gives you some more control over who's going to be calling you and when you answer it. If you say no or don't answer that orange line there, the number 2, where the PBX is saying, hey, do you want this? If you say no, I don't, or you don't answer the phone, it actually pulls the call back and leaves the voicemail on the PBX itself. So your corporate voicemail still answers. So you can see where this is a lot more valuable than a simple call forward, because the call forward, you're not sure who's got the voicemail, the corporate system or the cell phone. With this, if you decline it or don't answer it, the phone system pulls it back and leaves that voicemail on your corporate device, your corporate voicemail system. Now, the challenge here with external assignment, this is exactly what one of my customers did. They didn't really have they have a mobile solution, but they were tapped out on licenses. And they didn't want to upgrade to another one to add some licenses. So anybody who was not on their Edge Gateway system already, they had about 5 people on it. They had another 20 so to work with. They simply did external assignment to their cell phones, and this is how they operated in their work from home strategy. Nice thing about it was voicemail was captured at the corporate office. It didn't cost them anymore. The only downside to it is that in this mode, you're using up 2 trunks in your phone system for every 1 call, because the call coming in, the number 1 green line, is using a trunk on your PRI or your analog or even a SIP trunk. And then that call that goes out that you accept is using a second trunk. So the cost, if you will, of external assignment is that every call takes up 2 trunks. And so essentially, if you execute this model with your entire staff, you're going to cut your capacity of concurrent phone calls in half. So that's one thing to just be aware of if you do this model for your remote worker strategy. Okay. Now the problem with the external assignment comes in. So let's go back. This is receiving a call. So when you receive a call, it comes in, it calls you, it says, do you want this call? And you say yes, and now you're connected. There is a challenge if you want to make a call. So when you are set up in external assignment and you want to make a phone call, but you don't want that phone call to come from your personal cell phone, you want it to appear as though you are sitting at your desk and calling from your desk. Okay. You have to use software, and this is where the problem comes in. You have to use software to tell the PBX, hey, I need to make a call. And we'll talk about sort of that orange line right there. What is required for that? You got to have remote access to your software somehow. Maybe a Citrix client, maybe terminal services, or some other remote desktop application. You'll see here in a minute that we can actually deliver those with the Mitel Border Gateway and the Edge router seamlessly, so that there's no gotchas with it, if you will. But in this case, external assignment, making a call, the software has to tell the PBX that I need to make a phone call. Then the phone system calls the home user first. It says, this is the Mitel system establishing this call. You hit yes to accept the call. And then after you've accepted the call, it places another call out to the customer. And so what we're able to do in this model is to make a phone call with my corporate DID presented to my customer, but I made the phone call from my personal cell phone. Essentially, the PBX is acting as the man in the middle to pull me in on one side and then call the customer and mask my caller ID so it looks like I am calling from my corporate ID. But again, the challenges here are that first leg, you got to somehow get to the PBX and tell it to call you first. And that is accomplished through software. Now, you do have full control. You protect your personal number, but setting up that external assignment and having the customer call in is where the challenge arises. So again, you can do that through a VPN client. That's a little complex. You can do it through Citrix or terminal services, which if you don't already have that deployed, that is probably a large undertaking, depending on how many folks you're going to be sending home to work from home. But those are a couple ways to do that. The alternative with it is to utilize one of the gateway products that Mitel offers customers. So the gateway product is an appliance. It sits in your DMZ, accessible over the internet, and it's kind of like a VPN, if you will, but you don't have to launch a separate application. The ability for the Mitel software, the Mitel hardware, or the Ring Central, or whatever. Well, no, let's stay with Mitel for the premise-based. But the software is built into the system so that you don't need another third-party VPN application. It acts as the SSL-based, certificate-based security protocol so that you can securely connect. So it's fully integrated. These gateways come in appliances in a MyVoice Connect system. There's no charge for the appliance. It's charged per user license, and depending on your version and what level of licenses you have, you may already own all the licenses you need. The appliance doesn't cost anything. All you need to do is enable it, to install it and configure it. And that would be your work from home strategy, to be able to send people home with either their hardware phone, right? You're gonna have to buy power bricks for each of them, or software loaded on their laptops that they can access, because again, it's both software and hardware based for the remote user. Again, you centrally administer it. It offers the phone and the software connectivity. But again, that power and Ethernet cable are the key to success for that home network, right? I have an office upstairs, and my home router is downstairs. You can buy these devices called Ethernet extenders, which are kind of neat. You just plug them into your wall, and the technology uses the electrical cable, the electrical wires in your house to create Ethernet, right? So it's a it's a kind of a cool technology. It used to be old technology. Cisco had a long reach Ethernet solution many years ago, where you could. I've seen them put Ethernet on barbed wire before. Okay, so it is a low bandwidth, low speed. But what it does is it allows you to be able to extend your Ethernet by plugging one side into a power outlet next to your home router, and then any other plug in your house, you plug the other end. They find each other through some magic of technology and multiplexing and those types of things. They establish a radio frequency between the two, essentially establishing an Ethernet connection. And now you can put a physical plug anywhere in your house, because up until recently, the IP phones didn't have wireless adapters. That's another alternative to putting a phone in a home office where you do not have a cable connected to your home router. You can create what's called a WLAN adapter, a wireless LAN adapter, and connect that to your local Wi-Fi. Now, anytime, be cautious. Anytime you're running voice over wireless, you're going to be susceptible to dead spots, higher latency, and you're just more susceptible to call quality issues than if it were a physical connection. But with technology these days, I've got one of those home Wi-Fi meshes. I got one of those Google Pod things where I've got about 3 or 4 of them spread around the house. It blankets the house well. It's low latency. I've never really had any problems with it, even with 6 people at home online learning over the last several months. So there are ways to get around that, but it's something you definitely want to prepare for with your home users, because not everybody has the good Wi-Fi, or they don't have just kind of the understanding and the knowledge of cabling and how these little packets pass over the internet for voice. Okay, so the Mitel Border Gateway and the Mitel Edge Gateway. Border Gateway is for MyVoice Business, and the Edge Gateway is for MyVoice Connect. They are the appliance that, just like this diagram, establishes your VPN connectivity between your phones, between your PC or Mac. Your agents can work from home over the web-based agent experience, even web collaboration. Okay, so that's one option. The other option to extend that even further is to introduce a mobility router. Now, both the MyVoice Business and MyVoice Connect have apps for your smartphone. So they have iOS, Apple, and Android apps that you can install on your smartphone, and either call from a soft phone on your smartphone. Lots of phone words here. I'm trying to be as clear as possible. Or to call over the cellular network, but behaving as though you are calling from your corporate office and your corporate ID, even though you're calling from an app on your smartphone. Okay, so a couple screenshots of my phone here, right? It's just like my desktop experience, except it's on my iPhone. So I've got my status, I've got my contacts. You can see I got a favorite list there if I want to chat with them or call them. So it's just like my UC client, whether you're a MiCollab client or a MyVoice Connect client user. Both of those products have a comparable smartphone app that loads on your cell phone. And then what this does is this solves a little bit of the problem of having to worry about power for your home. The best experience is a hard phone plugged into your network. But if that's just not going to happen, extending that to your cellular device so that you don't have to worry about power, and you've got maybe some nice headsets already for your mobile device. You could plug in your headset and speak well. You are still going to be using some sort of wireless technology, whether that's Wi-Fi at your house or cellular data. And so it's not as good as a hard phone at your house, but it is a lot faster to deploy because you don't have to worry with the cabling and the power and the actual hard phone. You're just installing an app on your iPhone. So what I've got here is, the mobility router essentially has, or the Mitel Border Gateway gives me all this access, just like I'm sitting at my desk, except it's on my mobile device. For the MiVoice Connect product, the mobility router does have a cool feature that allows you to dynamically detect when your Wi-Fi is about to become degradate so far that you can't have a voice call, and it'll actually automatically switch it to the cellular network. So I can be on a phone call in my house, get in my car and drive away down the street, and with a mobility router, the application is intelligent enough to sense that my Wi-Fi signal is degrading, and it goes ahead and automatically shifts it over to the cellular network. So that's sort of one of the advantages. You don't have to know whether you're on Wi-Fi or cellular. You just make the call and the application does it for you, and you can switch back and forth, and generally the application will choose the network that is going to give you the best experience over voice. Most of the time that's going to be a Wi-Fi network. If you have Wi-Fi, that'll be what it connects to most of the time. And so, with the mobility router and having the application right there on your smartphone, you don't have to worry with the cabling and the power and the phone in the office. It's basically you got your office in your pocket. And you can see from the screenshots there, it gives me the same full access that I would have with my desktop application. Again, MiVoice Connect has a smartphone app, as does MiCollab, which is the Mitel MiVoice Business version. Okay. So these are some neat options, pretty easy to get to. Mobility routers. I'm pretty sure, yes, the mobility router comes with MiVoice Connect. There is no license for it. It is an appliance. You do have to spin up an appliance. Get it. Our recommendation is to put it into your DMZ, similar to the gateway, and then it's simply licensed per user for the mobility feature. Many of our customers already have the licensing because they were bundled in the version of licensing that they purchased. It's really just a matter of installing the appliance in the right location and configuring your users. Licensing is generally accounted for in most cases with both the Edge gateway and the mobility router. For the Mitel Border Gateway, it just requires that you have a teleworker license where you can enable those remote work environments as well. Okay. Then we have sort of some of the latest stuff that we've been looking at with, particularly with Mitel. I mean, there are other versions out there. RingCentral has a good video collaboration suite as well. The MiTeam Meetings is a cloud-based video conferencing solution, very similar to Zoom or MS Teams or those types of things. But you can deploy it for an on-premise system. So you already own your phone system. You just want to add video conferencing. MiTeam Meeting is a great way to do that. It's a cloud-based video. It's already fully integrated with MiCollab and will be fully integrated with MiVoice Connect later this year. And so it's a great way to engage folks with video calling. I imagine that some of you may like video calling. Some of you may be tired of video calling over these last couple months. Personally, I'm a fan. I like to be able to see the folks I'm speaking with, to see their interactions. I think it creates a much more personalized experience. And to have it integrated with my UC, where I can go from a phone call and simply escalate it to a video call, do screen sharing, create what's referred to as persistent chat, which essentially, if I wanted to set up a project, let's say I want to set up a meeting that's going to be reoccurring while we work on a project together. Inside that meeting, I maintain the full history of all the chats we had. I maintain the full history of documents we shared. And also, it's not limited to just people with MiTeam Meetings. I can be the host of it, and I can invite any number of people to my MiTeam Meetings, whether you're a Mitel customer or not. It doesn't matter. It's a web-based application. You hit a link, you log in, you enter a waiting room, and I let you in. And it's so it gives you that ability to host video calls. If it's a corporate-wide implementation where everybody is using it together, it is licensed per user. But if you're using it for kind of a one-to-many environment, then you don't have to have licenses for everybody who joins it, just the host, if that makes sense. A couple of screenshots there that show you, right, the video calling screen here. You got your persistent chat and your files that you could store over here. It supports, let's see, today MiTeam Meetings supports up to 16 videos. You can see up to 16 people on video, and another 84 people can join. So a total of 100 people can be on a single video call, but only the most active 16 would be up on a screen at one time. So scales pretty well. Already fully integrated with MiCollab, coming to be fully integrated with MiVoice Connect next quarter. And for anybody who is a MiVoice Connect customer today, they're running some free trials. So if you would like to look at the solution and have IPC configure you a couple of users that you can begin to test this video calling solution, just reach out to your account representative and they can set up that free trial. I think it's like a 6-month trial where you can use it at no charge. So document sharing, persistent chat, available on MiVoice Business and MiVoice Connect. My screen cut off there a little bit. Okay. Now the next option is totally different road we would travel down. Up to this point, all we've been talking about is the phone systems that you own and manage in your environment, right? MiVoice Business, MiVoice Connect. You provide the server, the hardware, you own licenses, so it's an ownership model. What folks who want to get out of the phone business are doing, that's just the best way to put it, is they are migrating their infrastructure from a premise-based phone system to a cloud-based phone system. So I don't want to own the servers. I don't need to own the data center. I just want to, maybe you have to provide PoE, right? You still need to power the phones. But all the voicemail and the servers and the backups and the redundancy and the trunking and the security and the licensing, all those things, I just want to pay a monthly fee. I draw an analogy to the power company, right? I did not build a power station in my backyard. I could have, but that would have been cost prohibitive. What I do is I subscribe to a power company who delivers just what I need when I need it. I pay for as little as much as I use each month, and they're responsible for its availability and reliability. If a tree falls on a limb and takes a wire down, they're the ones who have to work it out and get it straight. So it's a subscription model. You're more renting a phone system than owning a phone system, and that's really the public cloud unified communication space. Two products that IPC likes are the MiCloud Connect and the Ring Central options. depending on where you're coming from, some people like to maintain familiarity with the applications. The MiCloud Connect is very similar to the MiVoice Connect, so you don't have to retrain your users. You just move them over in, and there's some promotions going on to help people migrate and the like. But we believe having a couple options for our customers to consider the pros and cons of each will help you walk through each of those. But those people in a work from home strategy, right, they had already figured out all the security ramifications because that's how the solution works. There is no mobility router to install and manage. There is no Edge Gateway or Mitel Border Gateway. You don't have to worry about external assignment and call forwarding and those types of things because it's already built into how the service is delivered. Now, you still do, if you have a physical phone, you still got to worry about power. I know I keep coming back to this power thing. It was just trust me, it was one of the things that most people sort of underestimated. How do we power the phones when we send them home? It sounds so simple. It's very simple after the fact, but when you're in the middle of it and hadn't planned for it, everybody was scrambling to find PoE adapters for their home-based users. With a cloud-based system, you can get the phone with the power adapter already, right? It's just part of the rental agreement. The software downloads anywhere, and it already has the security built into the desktop version. The mobile version already has the security built in for it, so you don't have to worry about having that ready for your users. They install the apps, they click the button, and they're connected. But it's a different financial model for people to consider. It's renting versus owning, right? And so sometimes it's a CapEx versus an OpEx decision. Do I want to treat my telecommunications solution as a CapEx or an OpEx in my financials? So those are just some of the considerations that we help our customers navigate through. But from a work from home strategy, those folks had a little bit easier go at it because all the infrastructure was already built, was ready to go. So the other option out there is a private cloud solution. So let me flip back here real quick. MiCloud Connect and RingCentral are what we refer to as public cloud unified communications. Think of them like apartments, okay? Multi-tenant. I have one instance, I have one building, but I have multiple people living in that building. That is what's really a multi-tenant public cloud infrastructure, such as MiCloud Connect and RingCentral, okay? When the building gets an upgrade, everybody gets the upgrade. Okay? You don't manage version control. Everybody in the building is on the same version. Okay, so that's what we mean by multi-tenant. You do one thing to the multi-tenant and everybody gets it, which is good in some cases, unless you have some higher needs for application integration, some higher security or control concerns associated with potentially HIPAA or SOX compliance or FINRA, other things where you need maybe a little bit higher touch. You also need to be able to control when upgrades occur, okay? So that's where the private cloud unified communication solution comes into play. MiCloud Flex is a Mitel product. It's hosted in Amazon Web Services and Google Cloud. So there's a couple components there. Your voice is in Google Cloud, and the management of it's in AWS. And so they've built a nice cloud ecosystem to deliver your ability to, again, you're going to rent the licensing. It is a cloud-based subscription, but you will get your own dedicated instance. You're not one of many apartments living in a building. You have your own house. That gives us the ability to integrate deeper with your in-office applications, your CRM applications. With the Google technology, we have some quick ties into Google speech technologies and artificial intelligence. Some neat things that we can bring to bear with the private cloud offering. Again, it's subscription service. You have ultimate control. There's a BYOC down there, bring your own carrier. Okay, so sometimes we have customers who they want to move to a cloud, but they still have 2 years left on their carrier contract, whether it's through IntelliPeer or Windstream or somebody where they have they have their telecommunications SIP trunking contract that's got a couple years left on it. This is a great way you can actually bring that SIP trunk into the private cloud solution and benefit from the good rates, the good telco rates that you've already negotiated and established with your existing telecommunications provider. And so that gives us the ability to, the private cloud solution offers that bring your own carrier environment to make that transition easier. And again, because it's the cloud solution, all the security and the technology is already built into it. I mean, everybody is a work-at-home user in a cloud-based system. You might just be working in an office, but everybody is treated that same way. There's no additional security, whether I'm in the office or in my home. It is already built into the platform. And so the ability to jump to a work-from-home strategy becomes much easier in a cloud, whether it's private or public. For any future needs we may have associated with cloud-based. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up here. Let me flip here real quick and just to see. I have not been paying the great. Let's see how. Someone was mentioning my sound issue earlier. Hopefully that was okay and everybody hasn't experienced sound issues. Sorry about that. One of the question here about pricing. So as I mentioned before, a lot of the pricing is already built in. So if you are a MyVoice business or a MyVoice Connect customer, the best thing to do is contact your IPC representative, the person who invited you to this. If you don't know who that is, you can come to our website and just click the contact us, and we'll find out who that is. Hopefully you do know who it is, though. And then what we want to do is we really want to understand, what do you mean by work from home? What is the strategy? Who, how many? Is it going to be software only? Are we going to worry with hard phones? We really want to flush out the various use cases that you will have for your work from home strategy. And then that will define, okay, is it edge router? Is it mobility router? Is it border gateway? What are the options that we have available to us to be able to do this as cost effective as possible? We would review the licensing that you already have. As I mentioned before, many of our customers already have the licensing. If you're a MyVoice Connect, you already have access to an edge gateway. It's just part of the software. And a certain level of users already has the edge gateway user license associated with it. So spinning it up is really just time to install and configure and train. There's no associated licensing cost in many cases. I'm not going to say all cases because they're all different, but it would be worth a conversation to say, how much would it cost to get to this idea of being able to take my laptop home and work as though I were sitting at my desk, or pick up my phone off my desk and take it home and plug it in and work as though I was working at my office. And we can help navigate and walk you through those things. After reviewing license, we'd put together a statement of work and pricing, right? You'd obviously want someone who does this all the time for their customers. So we would create a small mini project to spin up a router or a gateway, install the necessary things that are needed. We can do training. There's a lot of self-paced training available for customers on various training channels, so we can get you tied in with those as well. And so that would be a good path forward with that. Okay, let me look again here at some questions that was around the pricing. Okay, so those are all the questions that I had in the session. We generally like to keep these to 45, 50 minutes to leave time for questions, but since there are none, there is no penalty for ending a meeting early. So I'd like to thank everybody for their joining today. Just a quick reminder, we will talk about the best path to the cloud at our next session on June 9th. So we will talk specifically about the cloud solutions and the migration paths. If you are a premise and want to consider how you could migrate to the cloud, that's our next session that we have on June 9th. You can just register for that on our website. Hopefully hopefully you learned something new today about the available technology that allows you to have a workable work from home solution that gives you good voice quality, keeps you in touch with your customers, keeps your employees engaged with each other. If you're interested in that MiTeam Meetings trial, please reach out to your account rep and say, hey, I'd like to try that trial. We'll get that set up and going. It doesn't take much time at all to do that. And any other questions you may have. So thank you very much. This will be on our website later this week if you want to share this with someone to look at and discuss your options, but please feel free to call us, and everybody stay safe. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.